So I'm Michael Connolly. I'm representing Change Vision, and they're the makers of the ASTA tool line. And I'm also co-chair of the ADTF. I've been going to OMG meetings in some aspect for over 20 years. Analysis and Design Task Force, that's what it stands for. And it's the part of OMG that makes standards, by the participants make the standards, that control or define or enable development of software and systems. We've been very successful, the ADTF, because the biggest standard in OMG is UML, the most famous, many books on it, including mine, but is UML, and it's very popular, and spin-offs from UML are now on other committees. So we might have started the standard, but the groundswell for these other standards have taken over and made their own task forces. We say we're there to make standards, but the real thing we're trying to do is we're trying to enable better, quicker, more accurate, and more cost-effective development of software and system type products throughout all industries, really. I worked on the UML, and I'm still on the UML committee. However, the more interesting thing, something relatively new, is UTP. It stands for UML Testing Profile, but it's a misnomer because it's not just UML, it's a testing profile that works with all the descendants of UML, including SysML and a couple of other ones. And it's going to, when finished, and we're still working on it, but when finished, allow you to use model-based testing, which promises to decrease the cost of testing, allow for regression testing, allow for simpler the definitions of your test cases and test runs and your tests. So it should be a big improvement. And I know from previous companies I've worked with, they've all wanted this standard. Lockheed Martin wanted to do it this way, and this other company wanted to do it that way, and this other company wanted to do it that way. But now, by getting all the representatives of all those companies together, we can make something that meets most of their needs. So the benefits of joining the ADTF is that you get to represent your company and influence the way these standards are made to make sure it covers your use cases or your needs. So that's very important. And even if you don't want to be that aggressive and influence it, you want to learn what's coming down so you can report back to your company and say, hey, look what's going to hit us, and isn't this be great? And then you can go back and you can teach, or you can write a book on it, or you can be a methodologist in your company. And those are all things that are to your individual value by coming to the ADTF. Practically, I can report back to my company, and I have, about here's where things are going, what do you need to change, what should we be pushing for, how do we want to use this. So I have increased my value to my company as a methodologist, as a trainer, a feedback back and forth to get the standards influence in the direction that I want. So I helped get the system engineering SysML standard developed because I said, well, we have a lot of programmers in my company then, but we also have a lot of system engineers, and they're not getting that benefit of a standard language for them. We can make their job much easier, cheaper, more accurate, more reproducible if we had a modern language for their job. So that's what we're trying to do now for the testers.
Great. Last two things. So what's in it for me? If I'm considering joining the Analysis and Design Platform Task Force, what's in it for me?
Well, it's a lot of fun. I bring donuts usually. So you get to do either two. You get to influence the standards in the way you and your company want, and you increase your personal value by being able to report back to your company what's coming down, what's going to be different, what changes are going to be there. So you get to influence the committee and the standards, and you get the committees and the standards to tell you what's going on, and tell you also, as you deal with peers in other companies, you can say, well, how are you doing this, or how are you accomplishing this? And that is very important, so you learn what's going on in the industry exactly in your field by people who sort of really know what's going on. And that is invaluable when you bring it back to your company.
Let me make a statement and get your reaction to it. You're clearly passionate about this. So it seems to me that being on this task force has obviously been worthwhile for you.
Oh, yes.
But you've also got like-minded people there that you can go toe-to-toe with, all for the greater good.
Exactly right. Yes. I mean, there's people who tolerate arguing about the fine details of standards, and that's important. But there's also people there who are just still there to learn about, and when they say, listen, this is how we do software development in my organization. This is how we do system development in my organization. And ask questions like, well, what can you do to help me? And then I start thinking, oh, yes, if we change the standard to include this, we're going to help that company. And that company gets value by expressing what their needs are. And I feel good about that. I enjoy that.
How do I get involved? Where do I go for information?
Yeah, so you go to the OMG website and www.omg.org, and you can search for the ADTF. And it'll have the current schedule and the current things we're working on. There's probably like 20 standards that are different stages of progress. Now, some almost finished, some in the beginning, some we're just talking about. So you can find that and look at the things that are interested in.